Welcome back to the Live Love Mom podcast, the place where faith meets the messy, beautiful reality of motherhood. I'm your host, Sindy, wife, boy mom, registered nurse, and Christian life coach. My goal is simple: to help you overcome mom guilt, silence the mental noise, and raise your children with a mindset rooted in Christ. If you are ready to stop striving for perfection and start resting in God's grace, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, mama. Okay, can we be real for a second? I know we've all had those moments where we've just felt like an absolute failure as a mom. I've shared before the story of when I sent my son to school on an empty stomach with no breakfast because I forgot it at home. Well, that wasn't the only time that I felt like I was a failure as a mom. So there's been, you know how they do like Spirit Week? Well, they were doing Spirit Week at our homeschooling community co-op. And actually, no, I remember it was Crazy Hair Day. It was Crazy Hair Day for Spirit Week. And I totally forgot about Crazy Hair Day. So we did nothing for Crazy Hair Day. Yeah, not my best moment, but it's fine. He's okay. We're good. It is what it is. At least I got him here and he's fed and he's clothed and he's well taken care of. But we've all had those moments where we just felt like absolute failure. And usually the guilt just starts hitting you, You just start thinking, I am such a mess. I can't do this. But, when the dust settles, you realize it's just a mistake. Like him missing breakfast, me forgetting to get him dressed for whatever day it was for Spirit Week. It's okay. Sometimes we also have to realize that it's a symptom for something else that's happening. Maybe our mind is just overloaded. Maybe it wasn't just I was forgetful. Sometimes it is that we're forgetful, but other times we have to realize that we might be in a pattern of burnout. So I think sometimes we think that we just chuck it up to mom guilt, Oh, that's just mom guilt. It's just like one big concept of mom guilt. But honestly and actually, I think as moms, we handle pressures in different ways. And from talking to other moms, from experiencing things myself, and looking at my own heart, I realized that there are 4 main struggle patterns that we all fall into when we're trying to survive. So let me know if this sounds like you. The striving servant. You can't sit down until the work is done. You guys, I've shared my personal story on the podcast before. I feel like that was me most of my life because I really thought that my worth was in the work that I was doing. I thought that me being productive, me checking all the boxes, doing all the things is how I prove that I am worthy, that I am valued, that I can be loved. The lie is I am worthy because I am productive. That was so me. That was so me. But truly, you feel anxious if you try to play with your kids while there are dishes in the sink. You're kind of like Martha wishing you could be Mary when, she was at Jesus's feet, just spending time with him, The second pattern is the carrying it all. Are you the carrying it all mama? You are the general manager of everything. You feel like you have to be in control of everything. You have to take care of everything. Everything will fall apart unless you take care of it. If you don't remember it, no one will, right? Like that's the lie, right? If you don't remember it, no one will. Everything will fall apart unless you're the one that takes care of it. And really, that starts being very tiring when we feel like we have to be the one in control. We have to make sure that all of the plates are spinning, like all at once. Then our brain can't shut down at night. And we have a constant level of anxiety. Maybe you're the pouring out mama. Maybe you are just giving so much of yourself. You're kind of running on an empty cup because you're just giving and giving, and you're not taking the time to really rest, to really restore, to really stay connected to the source. And a lie that the enemy might be telling you is that rest is selfish, is that you have to be everything for everyone. And that kind of leaves us numb, right? We could try to like sleep it off, but that doesn't work. We get irritable and impatient very quickly because we're pouring from an empty cup. And then the fourth pattern is the disconnected. Disconnected. Maybe you're the mama that you are physically there, but mentally you are just checked out. I don't know if that's happened to you, but for me, I feel like I've been in one of these patterns at one another at time. Like I feel like I've experienced every single one of these patterns. Mostly the striving servant. I think that's where I lean towards is the striving servant. But I have done all of these, and I'm sure you have too. And I think depending on the season of motherhood that we're in, we'll realize which pattern we're stuck in right now. Sometimes we're just going through the motions. We're just doing all the things, making sure that, everyone is okay. And we don't even realize that we are stuck in a pattern of just survival mode. So the last pattern is the disconnected pattern or the disconnected mama. You are physically there, but mentally you are checked. And the lie is that you just feel like you need an escape. You need a buffer to survive the craziness of your life or the noise of your life. You might reach for your phone just to scroll through the internet. You might feel like you have a digital fog, but you really want to be present, but the mental noise is just so loud. Let me know if you can relate to any of these because I feel like I can relate to all of them. I just want to share some of the truth, that for the striving servant, the story of Mary and Martha, I think is like the perfect example of learning not to be a striving servant, learning to really rest at Jesus's feet and not just try to, you know, do all the things, make sure all the work is done. Not saying not to get any work done, but we have to learn and realize that there has to be times where we sit at his feet, where we just connect with him, where we just spend time with him. I think that just can make such a difference in our lives and also in our families' lives, right? Because if we are connected and we're not striving, then we can just rest in him and we can better take care of our children and our household and our family. And then for the carrying it all, I just want to remind you, like the Lord says to come to him. All who are weary and heavy burdened, just go to him. I want to go back for a second to the story of Martha. I just want to go back to the story of Martha and Mary. I'm going to read from Luke 10:38-42. It says, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had her sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Man, like that's such a good point, is that what Martha was doing wasn't wrong, but what was better was to be at Jesus's feet. So I think that's a good reminder for us striving mamas. For us striving servants, because that's me. I'm part of the striving servant tribe for sure. I just think that's a good reminder is to, just rest in him, stay connected to him, abide in him. So if you are the carrying it all, the carrier, right? You feel like you have to carry everything on your shoulders. I just want to read this to you. In Matthew 11:28, it says, I will read the ESV. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Whatever you're carrying, you can let it go and surrender it to God because He is in control. As much as we want to control everything, we can't, we cannot, we don't have the capacity to do it. So I invite you to just surrender it to the Lord. And if you are the pouring out mama, if you feel like that's the pattern that you're in, that you're just giving and giving from a place that is empty, I want to read. Actually, I was going to read the verse in John, but the Lord showed me a verse yesterday in Isaiah. I think it was 55:1. And I just want to read that to you because I feel like that will be some great encouragement for you. Yes. In Isaiah 55:1, it says, come all who are thirsty, come to the waters, and you who have no money, come buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without cost. Come all who are thirsty, come to the waters. Just go to him. Let him fill you up. Let him be your source so that you are not pouring from an empty cup. And then lastly, for the disconnected, if you feel like this pattern that you're in is the disconnected, the Lord wants us to stay connected to the source. He talks about us abiding in him, and that is in John. So I guess I am going to go to John. I believe it's in John 15. Yes, 15:4. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I know that, it might seem that these things are like out of context, but just read like the whole chapter behind it and you will realize that he truly is our source. We don't have to live a life where we're always in survival mode. If we really learn to stop striving and choose the better thing, stop carrying and go to him when we're burdened and heavy laden, stop pouring out from an empty cup and really connect to the living water, stop being disconnected and stay connected to the vine. I feel like he is our source. He is our everything. So you aren't broken. This is just a pattern that you might be stuck in right now, and patterns can change. If you are listening to those descriptions and nodding your head thinking, oh yeah, that one is definitely me, I have something for you. I created a brand new free tool called the Present Mama Quiz. It takes less than 60 seconds. You have a few questions about how you're feeling, and it will tell you which pattern you might be currently stuck in. But more importantly, I'm going to send you a customized guide on how to move from that specific struggle back to peace. Because the way the striving servant finds rest might be different than how the disconnected mama finds focus. So go to the link in the show notes right now or head over to www.livelovemom.com/quiz and find which struggle type you might be in. So let's stop beating ourselves up for missing the breakfast and start learning or for forgetting the outfit for Spirit Week. And let's start learning how to live loved in the middle of the mess. I'll see you in your inbox with your results. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Mama. If something we talked about today hit a nerve, or if you're just feeling exhausted and you don't know why, I want to invite you to take the next step. I created a free 60-second assessment called the Present Mama Quiz. It helps you identify exactly which of the 4 burnout patterns you are stuck in right now, and it gives you a custom guide to find your way back to peace. Head over to livelovemom.com/quiz to find out which pattern you're in. If this episode blessed you, would you do me a huge favor? Leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other moms find this community so we can all grow together. Until next time, remember that you are seen, you are known, and you are fully loved.